Hey everyone, this is Andrea from Doctors of Running, and today I'm bringing you a 200-mile review of the Topo Cyclone 2, which has quickly become my favorite non-plated performance trainer this year and actually of the past several years, which you can probably tell by how many miles I've put on it in a relatively short period of time. So just to review the specs quickly, weight, this is a really lightweight shoe, 6.7 ounces for a men's size 9, 5.5 ounces for a women's size 7. The shoe just really disappears on your feet. Really love how light it is. Stack height, 28 millimeters in the heel, 23 millimeters in the forefoot, giving us a 5 millimeter drop. All of Topo's shoes range in drop from 0 to 5 millimeters, so the Cyclone 2 is one of a few of their 5 millimeter drop shoes. On to just talking a little bit about the fit. One of the most notable features of Topo shoes is the nice wide toe box. I really love how the toe box fit in pretty much every Topo I've tried. It's wide enough so that you have room for toe splay, but it's not so wide that the forefoot feels sloppy, like your foot can move around at all. It's just a really comfortable but still secure fit. The rear foot fits pretty normally. I wouldn't say it's wide or narrow. They've really improved the fit of the rear foot over version 1, which I got a lot of like heel and Achilles irritation from the heel of version 1. Haven't had any of that in version 2, so really nice update there. I'd say the midfoot fits pretty normally. This is a shoe that I don't have to mess with the laces much at all to get good lockdown, so the way Topo makes their shoes just fits my foot really nicely. Moving on to performance. So I've put a lot of miles on this shoe, and I've used it for just about every workout imaginable. So I've taken it on a 16-mile easy run, and I've used it for a ton of workouts with intervals from hill sprints, mile pace intervals, 5K pace intervals, threshold intervals, and even a couple longer marathon pace tempos. So I would say that the shoe is better at faster paces. It was nice for threshold intervals, although like if I was picking my #1 favorite, I'd probably pick something else, but it really shines at like 5K pace and below. And I think that's because of a combination of a few features. One, the stack height isn't high, 28-23. You've got full-length PEBAX, which is awesome. So you get that nice cushion and then immediately followed by like a lot of responsiveness. But because it's not such a high stack shoe, you don't get that unstable marshmallow feeling that you do in some other performance trainers that have a high stack height of PEBAX without a plate. Specifically talking about the Nike Invincible. So this shoe, they've really just found the sweet spot with full PEBAX, no plate, but a shoe that you can run fast in without it feeling squishy or unstable. So one of the things that I really like at faster paces is even though you've got a lot of PEBAX and you can see this shoe has pretty significant toe spring, although it starts pretty late. You've still got a nice flexible forefoot. So it really lets you use your own mechanics at push-off, as opposed to shoes with a lot of toe spring and a stiff forefoot, where you just kind of feel like you land and then the shoe forces you forward. You feel a little more in control with this shoe, which I tend to like when I'm running faster. I would say for like marathon pace work, this shoe feels actually a little too flexible, which is interesting, but you know, Matt and Nathan and I have all talked about how we all tend to like more flexible shoes for faster paces, and then for longer tempos at like marathon pace, a stiffer forefoot can actually feel a little more efficient, like it's kind of helping keep you rolling. Whereas when you're running faster, it's nice to have the ability to use your own forefoot mechanics for push-off. So again, Topo did a great job with the geometry of the shoe, and I've just really found that it works really nicely for me with my workouts. Another thing to note, the outsole, we've got a fair amount of rubber coverage. It's not very thick, but you can see, so I've got 212 miles on this shoe, and the rubber has not worn out anywhere. And even where the midsole is exposed, yeah, I've chewed it up a little bit, but there isn't anywhere that looks destroyed or looks like I've taken a chunk out of it, which I certainly had that problem, for example, in the New Balance Beacon V3, which is one of my favorite shoes, but because the Beacon is all exposed, well, not all, but a lot of exposed midsole, I tend to wear it out quite quickly here. So the fact that, yeah, this is a little worn, but it's not worn enough to affect the mechanics of how the shoe works, I'm pretty impressed. 212 miles, and the most the outsole looks is dirty. So I think I'm probably going to get 300 miles out of this shoe. As far as how the cushioning feels, it feels the same as it did the first run I did in them. It really hasn't broken in that much. It doesn't feel softer. It doesn't feel like I bottom out in the shoe. So really, really impressed with the performance and longevity of this shoe. This shoe retails for $150, which is a great deal for the versatility of this shoe, especially it being a PEBAX shoe. So I would definitely recommend giving this a try if you like lower drop shoes, if you like an anatomical toe box, and if you're someone like me who likes a later toe spring, but combined with a more flexible forefoot. Another thing that I've really appreciated about this shoe is, again, not a ton of rubber, some rubber coverage, but not full. This shoe does awesome in the rain. I've done several workouts in like downpours where, there's like inch deep puddles on the road, and I've had absolutely no issues slipping. So really well designed. There's really nothing that this shoe can't do. I did mention that I took it on one easy long run, 16 miles. It was fine. For me, it's a little soft for that distance and going that easy, but it wasn't uncomfortable, but I definitely prefer a little stiffer shoe for going longer and running slower. Like the Brooks Hyperion Max is definitely my favorite easy long run shoe because the overall ride is stiffer. Moving on to stability. So this is a neutral shoe. There aren't a whole lot of stability elements in it. I would say the two main stability features are the rocker geometry. So you've got a little bit of a heel bevel here, not much, and then the late toe spring. So these aren't really forcing motion, they're just kind of guiding it. The geometry works really well for me as a midfoot striker. So the heel bevel makes midfoot landings feel a little more natural. And I like that the toe spring starts later because then it feels like I'm more in control of push-off as opposed to the shoe, like I said earlier. And then the other stability feature, I would say, there are some sidewalls in the midfoot that kind of feel like they hug your midfoot. They don't really feel like they're pushing you in one direction or the other. Just kind of contributes to the overall secureness of the fit of this shoe. And like all Topo shoes, there is some medial arch support built into the midsole. I wouldn't say it's intrusive. I don't like a lot of arch support. I don't have high arches, but it's perfectly comfortable for me. I've never had any discomfort related to that amount of arch support here. So just to summarize, the Topo Cyclone 2, favorite non-plated performance trainer this year. Gonna put a lot more miles on it for my workouts later in the year. Running Grandma's Marathon in a week, so this shoe will get put away for a little bit while I'm recovering from that, but looking forward to using it for some faster paced stuff later in the summer. Thanks for listening and have a good one.